Good luck. This is the $4 spin. Ryan Mallett. Dylan or this other guy. Dylan Anonymous has won the $4, the Ryan Mallett card. 2-1. Andrew Benintendi card. It's Doug Stubbs, who already has a card. Congratulations, Doug Stubbs. Let me get a little sippy sip. Okay, let's do this. Legendary status. Here we go. Hunter Henry. Card number 1. Oh, John. Oh, it's going to be Mac. Oh, I thought John. Oh, man. I thought for sure that was going to be Hawes' card. Dual autographed Hunter Henry, Alex Collins card. 3, 2, 1. Jeff Ankney. Congrats, man. Welcome. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Hope you guys have had a good week. I know it's just that time of year where I kind of lay low a little bit, try to get you guys content wherever I can, however I can. Let me know if all the sound is good. We got a new, check out the new background brought to you by Mr. Travis Ford. He and I, he did most of the work. Let's not lie here. He's the mad scientist when it comes to this stuff. Hope you guys dig the new background. We're probably it's going to be a little touch and go. There's going to be some more changes, but you can see the field. It's kind of rocking. You're going through. It's rocking forward. Then it comes back. It's pretty neat. You got the football over here. It's pretty cool, man. He's good at what he does. All right. We got a few items on the docket today. We're going to discuss future opponent, Oklahoma State, what's going on there with certain star player and what his head coach had to say about it. We're, man, what all do we have here? I have a whole list. All my stuff. We're going to talk about a new addition to the Arkansas possibly the final edition. We've got some baseball and some Big 12 stuff to talk about. So, yeah. All right. Shout out. You guys saw that video play at the beginning. The card spin we did as it was a private link. I say private. It was open to everybody in Discord. You could see it. We had a few people there. I didn't make it open to the public because it just, I don't know. I knew I needed to download it quickly, get it cut up and everything. And it's just easier to do it that way and not have to worry about opening it up completely to the public. I have tried that before, and those videos, I don't know. And I don't really want those to be in my library. You know what I mean? Like when you pull up the Tusk Talk library of videos, I don't want just wheel spins. So this is separate, and this way I could cut up a video for you guys and show you who won and what cards they won. But shout out to all the month of June winners. Awesome supporters, all of you guys. Legendary status members, we had 20 members in the month of June. 20 members. And I think we've done that 2 or 3 times. That's just legendary status. Over 105, I think, total Patreon members from last month. So, yeah. The winners were Doug Stubbs on the Mallett card. We had Dylan Anonymous, who got the Benintendi card. Mac got Hunter Henry with the fabric inside the card, autographed, who's a legendary status member. We did 2 legendary status cards. And Farrell Hogman, Jeff Ankney, got the Hunter Henry, Alex Collins dual autographed card. We have the new cards right here. I've got them. Discord members who are in our lives already know what these cards are. Look at this fly. Can you see him? I think he just wants to be on camera. He only pops up when I'm here live, either in Discord. Look at him. You see him? He's just chilling. All right. Fly away, you little. All right. Here's the cards we're going to do for the month of July. You guys are going to dig these. $4 folks are going to get, someone is going to win a Marcus Monk, his NFL. That's his rookie card, Marcus Monk. The $8, check this out. One of my favorite. He's in my top 10 of favorite Razorbacks, maybe of all time. certainly in the 2000s, a chrome Jamal Anderson card. How often do we talk about Jamal? You know what? One of these days, I'm going to reach out and get him on here. The legendary status members, we've got an autographed Jarius Wright card. Autographed Jarius Wright. And then the second legendary status card, Peyton Hillis, autographed. Hero, as it were. Former Razorback on the cover of Madden. How can you not dig that? So we're going to have two people that are legendary status are going to get a shot at winning one of these two cards. And then, the Marcus Monk and the Jamal Anderson. So there you go. Put those off to the side. Shout out to all you guys. Again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to fire away. A little later than normal for me. I get it. But I do appreciate those of you who are able to make the live show. Shout out to not only just Patreon supporters who keep this whole thing afloat, but, of course, sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Speaking of Mr. Travis Ford, same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. Give them a call, 501-244-3667. They operate out of Central Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas. They handle all things garage door. And then also Insurance Max. Listen, you guys, there's still time. Sign up or call for a free quote. You get a shot at winning a copy of EA College Football 2.5. Now, I need to get with Wes on when he's going to notify the winner. We'll get caught up on all that. I'll get Wes to give me an idea how when he wants to do this. I'm assuming it's going to have to be before Friday next week. So we got a little bit of time, but we know the early access people on PS5 and Xbox, you're going to get to play the game Monday assuming you pre-ordered the deluxe version, you're going to get to play, I think it's at 3 o'clock on Monday on my birthday. Happy birthday to me, man. That is awesome. I'm so excited for that. So I will be downloading. I think it's actually going to be available to download for PlayStation users on the 13th. I don't know the exact time. Xbox, they're already able to download. Not that it really matters. Who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, it's when you can have access to the game. But, again, Insurance Max, sign up, call or sign up for a free quote. They cover business, personal, life and health insurance, retirement plans. We shop the best rates for you, covering corner to corner our fabulous state here in Arkansas. I really hope that thumbnail did not. The thumbnail that I'm seeing on my end that was shared to the public is the last live show's thumbnail. I hope that wasn't the case. YouTube, or I don't know if it's YouTube or these other, I'm assuming it's YouTube, but the links that you share always seem to be a little bit behind on the thumbnail. I don't know. Anyways, all right. Again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. I appreciate everyone for, again, hopping in. Late to the chat, congrats on the Patreon members. Best money I spent. Man, Mark, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. You guys have never asked for anything in return. So, again, I'm always like, what can I do to not only, of course, grow? I mean, of course I want to grow Patreon, but what can I do to also just kind of give something back? So, you know what? I found a couple of people and a couple of places I can go to get some autographed cards. Now, obviously, I can't give them all out. That would be super expensive. But I got the first 4 cards out, including our recent Tusk Talk Discord cycle. The previous cycle winner got his card. That was the other Mac who won that cycle. Hey, Brother Hog, what's up, Doug? Doug, what are you doing, man? How's it going? How's it going, sir? I have your card, Doug. Again, you won. I need you to send me your updated. Well, actually, you may have DM'd me on Patreon, but this is your card, Andrew Benintendi. It's got your name written on it. That is yours. You won that card. The same with Dillanonymous. If he's in here or if anybody knows him, goes by that name, he's got Ryan Mallett waiting on him. All right, there we go. What's up, Ty? Hope you're having a great day. Sarge, I am doing really well. I hope you're doing well also. Hog Barbecue, I like that name. He's an OG. You see him? He just wants to be on camera. We got to give this little bastard a name. Look at him. He only does this. I sit here and do notes and play games and watch movies, hang out with my kids in here sometimes. Nothing, no flies anywhere. Only when I turn the camera on does this little. He flew off. Anyways, all right, let's get into it. Let's get started off. First off, Landon Jackson gets his EA College Football 2.5 rating. I don't know if you guys have looked into that. Listen, we did a poll, and only I don't know how many people actually voted. I don't think it was very many. Not very many people are interacting with this stuff, so I really don't know how far I'm going to go with this as far as talking about it here. But in our Discord, we are going to have 2 separate leagues in Tusk Talk Discord, or Tusk Talk Online Dynasty. You got to be in that Discord, number one. And if you're a Patreon supporter, you're going to have your own separate league. There's going to be more XP available for Patreon supporters. I don't know how often I'm going to bring that content here. I really thought about doing that quite a bit, but the interaction here, vast majority of you apparently just do not care about this, which is crazy, again, considering how I started the channel was a video game / Arkansas Athletics channel. And that's kind of how I started my following all those years ago, and those people apparently are gone. Although most people that take those polls are voting that they're going to play the game. What I'm talking about is the participation on this stuff. It's very little. There are some of my worst polls that I've done. They don't typically – although there's a couple of overall rating polls that I've done that did okay. But even in Discord here, there's just not a lot of interaction with this. So I doubt I'm going to cover much of this game on this channel. I'm not going to start up a separate channel. There's just not enough interest from you guys on this game. Maybe I'll bring it up here and there. I don't know. If it changes, if you guys start to show a little bit more interest, then obviously I'll talk more about it. So Landon Jackson gets his rating. He is the highest rated Razorback. He's right now, this is the top 100. We don't know the whole list. He's 91 overall. I said it's going to be somewhere between 88 and 92. He got 91. His numbers, what we can see, we don't get all of his numbers, but his overall 91. Ooh, excuse me. Speed is 76. Acceleration 87. Strength is 88. Now I'm going to tell you, as a long-time EA College Football or Madden, whatever, for a defensive end to have high 80, low 90 strength is really freaking high. Like, I say really, really. It's not – I'll say this. Typically, if you've got a defensive end with these kind of numbers – by the way, his jump is 88. His jump. Remember how big he is, and they have his jump at 88. My man is dunking from the free throw line damn near, when you consider how long that dude is and what his wingspan is. So I don't know how accurate the jump rating is there. I would probably argue 76. You know, again, as someone who's played these games dating all the way back to the mid-late 90s, I don't know where they're getting that number from, but his awareness is 95, which makes sense given the amount of starts under his belt, how long he's been in this league now. But again, his speed and excel are where I think they probably should be. I have no problem with that 76 speed. Excel maybe about 84, 85 is probably where I would put it, but 87 is fine. I'm fine with that. So again, 91. His overall rank is 58th in the of the top 100, so he'll be the 58th overall player, and that's your highest Razorback. I couldn't tell you all the players on EA College Football or NCAA 14. That was the last game that we had. Collins was on that game, but he was a freshman. So obviously, God, who would have been the highest rated player then? I can't even think that far back. I don't know, but anyways, someone will plug a name and it'll hit me. 91's not bad. Again, I have no trouble with it. I kind of think he should probably be, because really a lot of his hype is from one game. It's Alabama. Go back and look at that game. He shredded that freshman left tackle. Was a huge pain in the ass for Alabama. Other than that, I don't know. I'm not going to complain about 91 overall. It's about where I would put him. To be real, somewhere about 88, 90 is where he belongs. He's a really good player. He is he's at least 6'6" minimum. I mean, he's a tall cat. Not a huge fan of the moving background. Maybe make it slower. Of course, Mike's going to be the first one to complain about that. Love it when you go live when I got a long drive ahead of me. Hey, awesome, John. Appreciate it. What's McFadden's rating? His last year, his junior year, he was 97, was he not? 97 or 98. He wasn't 99. He should have been 99. He's arguably still one of the greatest running backs to ever play in this league in the SEC. He's the greatest Razorback of all time between him and maybe like a Lance Allworth, right? I don't remember what his freshman – I think his freshman rating, he was like 78 or 80. I really can't remember. Arkansas hasn't had very many 80 overall freshmen. They really haven't. Thinking back, I think Collins might have been 80. Mitch Mustaine, I think, was 80. God, I don't know. We're talking about something where about 20% of you give a shit about, so we're going to move on from it. But I am excited. Monday's going to be awesome. I do want to stream. I might stream it on Twitch on Monday. I don't know. All right. Big 12. I don't know if you guys caught this. This kind of happened, or at least I didn't see it until later in the day as I was kind of getting this thing prepared and ready to go. Big 12 expansion coming, question mark. Many are reporting, this is several people reporting, you know, not just people that pay for the check mark, but actual media types are reporting that FSU and Clemson are in early talks with the Big 12 about joining the conference. And what I noted here, this is actually a perfect measuring stick for how competitive or relevant your conference is, or how good your conference is. If FSU and Clemson join the Big 12, they're the two biggest names and the most respectable programs in that conference like that. I don't think there's – I mean, do you guys agree with that? I think that would be the case. Bare minimum, they're the top 3, top 4, bare minimum. These are the two, again, they would be the two biggest names. Put them in the Big 10 or the SEC, they're not in the top 5. I know Clemson obviously was relevant several years back with the playoff appearances, did a lot for their brand, did a lot for their recognition. But Dabo, I don't know, they're kind of all over the place. It's hard to really put a finger on. Maybe you can make an argument that Clemson would have a stronger case to be in the top 5 in the SEC than Florida State, despite the fact that Florida State just had a fantastic regular season last year. But overall, the polish, the shine of FSU over the last how many years has really faded. So I don't think FSU would be a top 5 team in the SEC now as of today if they were to join. And I don't know that Clemson would be either. But when both these schools could walk into the Big 12 and be the two biggest names in that conference, it's saying something. Now, to be fair to the Big 12, they lost Texas and Oklahoma, not really their fault, but adding BYU, Cincinnati, UCF, I don't know. It seems like they've added these teams that have recently been somewhat successful. Like when they started the talks with Cincinnati, if I recall correctly, it was after Cincy had that big year a little while back, and since then they've not done anything. BYU is a very up and down team every year. UCF, I mean, I don't know. I guess UCF might be one of those. They kind of remind me a little bit of like a Boise State from the early 2000s. Like they're kind of making their way up to relevancy. They're climbing that ladder of relevancy. Make no mistake about it. All these schools I just mentioned, by the way, I would probably pick to beat Arkansas. I don't think right now. I don't think that's really. I don't think that's a what do you want to say? That's not something that I think most of you would disagree with. Some of you probably will, especially the folks who really don't like any negativity at all. But I don't think Arkansas beats any of those teams. So I'm not trying to say that Arkansas is better than these teams. I'm saying the SEC conference is just such a big bad conference. Same with Big 10. The names right now just dwarf the majority of the Big 12. I said this on Mark Rogers' show. I haven't read the chat. I'm sure some of the Big 12 people that watch that show might be a little irritated, but I took some shots at the Big 12. I don't think it's a good conference. It's not a Power 5. It's not, especially with OU and Texas out. I just don't see that conference as very relevant. So if adding these two teams would do so much. There's some stuff going on with the Big 12 lately. They're trying to find ways to financially catch up to the other big conferences. And again, if they added Clemson and FSU, keep in mind the ACC does not make it. They don't make near the kind of money the Big Ten and the SEC makes when you're talking about like these network deals and how much they pay all these teams. They're just not there. FSU talked about their frustration with this just a couple of seasons ago. They've been looking for a way out of the ACC for at least the last, 5 years. I seem to remember even during the Clemson, when Clemson was on their run where they were going to the playoffs, I seem to remember then that still being a point of contention, that the contracts or the way they're paying, the amount that they're paying these teams just was not anywhere near. It wasn't half of what the SEC and the Big Ten. You know, and I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I want the ACC to be good. I want the Big 12 to be relevant. I want these things. I don't like that the Pac-12 just doesn't exist anymore. To me, college athletics is at its best when you have, more than just one or two conferences dominating the whole damn thing. I don't like that. I don't think that that's good. I don't like these conferences that have a monopoly on the playoff distribution, if you will. Like, they have a monopoly in how they get into the playoffs. We know how this works. We know money's involved, and you've got the biggest and best brands in those two conferences. That's not good for college athletics. It's not good. Take softball, and I know this is apples and oranges, and I don't know how many of you care about softball, but softball's catching a lot of fun right now, and Arkansas all of a sudden is relevant. Look at how much more fun and exciting that sport is when you have the amount of different teams that can be competitive. Of course, we know Oklahoma dominates softball, but how much better would softball be if Oklahoma wasn't as dominant and you had more teams who get the shot in the postseason and win it all? I think it's a big reason why. I know it's one of the big reasons why March Madness is I think it's the best postseason in all of sports. March Madness, whether the Razorbacks are in or not, whether the Razorbacks are advancing or not, it is without a doubt the best thing about sports. And it's the different teams, the diversity of teams, if you will. That's what makes it great. You have these teams that are knocking off. Kentucky's a really good example. Look who beat them in round one. We've seen some teams that are below 6, 7, 8 seeds advance and make their way to Sweet 16s and Elite 8s. It's fun. It grows the sport. Football right now is a monopoly, and it's crawling towards a super monopoly. I don't know if that's the right term. It's definitely a monopoly between the Big Ten and the SEC. And I hated to see the Pac go. I hate to see the ACC shrink. I want the Big 12 to be more attractive and to be relevant. I'm going to be real. Like I said on Mark's show, I'm going to be surprised if the Big 12 still exists 5 to 10 years down the road. Remember, it wasn't that long ago that conference was flat-ass broke. It looked like they were about to fall apart. And here we are again, and now they're trying to add FSU and Clemson into the fold. We'll see what happens. I don't know that that's where they want to go. Again, I know the Big 12 is trying to make some moves. I was having this conversation, and I think this is relevant to Arkansas athletics, but they're trying to form there's a private equity group that I believe, if they haven't already, they're making moves to, I guess, buy up and consolidate the Big 12. And essentially what, a private equity group is, it's a group of people from that, from the investment class, as they call it, who just kind of, I guess, funnel their money together and they buy up the conference. That's not good for college athletics. But it's the way that's the only way I think the Big 12 can make any movement, and maybe that's where these discussions, or why they're happening, is because these PE groups are funneling their money and together, and they're going to essentially buy up the Big 12. If I understand that correctly, please, I'm not a financial expert. Some of this stuff goes way over my head. If you understand the situation better than I do, please feel free to correct me where I'm wrong. But yeah, it's I don't think it's good if that's the case, and if I'm reading this correctly. The Big 12 is trying to do everything it can to be competitive, and at least that's a sign of life for that conference. If you know anybody that's a Big 12 fan, wish them luck. I want the Big 12 to be relevant. I want these conferences. I don't like that the Pac is gone. I really don't. And I can't imagine if you're a USC fan. Think about when they got to play teams on the East, or out further east. Oof. No bueno, no good. And I don't know that that's good for college athletics. It's always been a regional thing, and that's just no longer the case. Let's see. Scroll. We beat UCF. We know KJ. I'm not getting into that debate. If I'm the BYUs, Houston, et cetera, of the Big 12, I don't want any part of FSU and Clemson joining the conference. Exactly. But the same could be argued about Arkansas not wanting OU and Texas to join the SEC, says Andrew McAdams. I agree. You don't, and I said this several years ago on the live show. Arkansas does not want these teams. They don't want the conference to expand. They don't want that to be the case. Yeah, it's going to help their purse. Okay, sure. But, in terms of winning and losing, does Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC help your case? Now, I tell you what does help. The fact that you don't have to play that gauntlet that included Alabama every year, that helps. But you're going to have to play Texas every year and possibly Oklahoma every once in a while. That's not – I don't know that that's good. Notre Dame gets yet another clear path to the playoff now that the ACC is totally barren, says Peanut Butter Posse. Duke, North Carolina, probably a package deal, and that would be smart for both of those teams for that to be the case. What's up, Philip? How you doing, man? Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. I do appreciate all the new people we've had join, sign up. I've had someone over the last several months. I've had a couple of people DM me and say, Ty, I actually went through it and actually made a YouTube account, not only because I want to watch my content or whatever, but I want to watch you live and support you. So I appreciate you for doing that. Jeremy Gray says, Ty, the thing I hate the most about the new SEC is no longer having divisions. The divisions is what kickstarted the SEC back in 92. He's talking about, with SC and Arkansas joining. I hope they go back to them. Do you think they do in a couple of years? I don't know what they're going to do there, but it feels like it's going to be, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like they're playing spin the bottle with some of this stuff. I don't know if they know what they want to do. I have no idea. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what the plan is. I mean, we've heard Dave Van Horn how he feels about that. I hate this mix up. The kickstart was the Southwest Conference folding. Sad. Well, yeah, and that started with Arkansas leaving. I like this. I wish I could put this comment on the screen, but I'm not on StreamYard, so I can't. The pod system makes more sense than divisions now. Yes, I agree. Thanks, Leslie. What's going on? Oh, yeah. Philip, I hope you're Philip, hope all's well, man. Hope you're doing well. Two days in the hospital. That sucks, man. Arkansas Sports Network. Ty is our go-to. What's going on, Arkansas Sports Network? So Arkansas started off this whole realignment crap. You could make that argument. However, they're not the first. Like, who was it? Years ago, you had some weird teams in the SEC. Who was it? Georgia Tech was once in this conference. I think they got booted out, right? Fascinating team on EA College Football 2.5. I'm going to tell you, there's two teams I'm really kind of circling on. So, again, I hate to go back to that, but really quick, on EA College Football 2.5, we're going to have the Patreon League, which we're going to have a certain way how people are going to be. You could pick your team, but we'll get to that in a minute. Or we'll get to that maybe sometime next week. But the open league, you could be anybody, anywhere in the country. You can be anybody you want. If someone wants to be Arkansas, they can be Arkansas. It's going to be a first come, first serve situation, okay, on EA College Football 2.5 for you to pick your team. Now, the Patreon league is going to be a little bit different, but the open league, it's first come, first serve. And I'm going to go live with it, and I'm going to make sure to announce it. You got to be in our Discord. I'm going to announce it as soon as both those leagues are up and ready to go. So that will be next week. God bless America. Aren't you guys excited? I know I am. Holy crap. Tulane, Sawney, and Georgia State. Yeah, that's right. Tulane was also in the SEC. That's right. All the SEC schools and the bunch of ACC schools were in the SoCon together. Yeah, once you get really, really far back, I couldn't tell you much. I don't, I'm lost with that. Really, post like 19, when Arkansas won the title, 64, Anything before that, I'm like, wait, what? What happened? Who did what? After 64, right? That's when we all cared. That's when football mattered. That's when it was relevant. After Arkansas won their first title, their only title, tie in a way, I hope the SEC rejects FSU. They had their chance back when we joined the conference. SEC wanted them. I didn't know that. And they wanted to go through that cream puff ACC at the time. The ACC was very weak. Now, Miami was in the Big East then, right? Miami, Louisville, and yeah, FSU was in the, yeah. I just don't understand why we don't play Arkansas State instead of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Well, that's going to change though, right? Don't they have Arkansas State next year? Is that not, am I crazy? Am I having a brain fart moment? All right, let's move on to a team that Arkansas is going to actually play. That's Oklahoma State. You guys know Ollie Gordon got into some trouble, and he is going to play. Gundy was asked about this, and let's listen.
So I looked it up on my phone. What would be the legal limit? Like in Oklahoma is 0.08, and Ollie was 0.1. So I looked it up, and it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made. Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life. And I, it's just fine. So I got lucky. People get lucky. Ollie made a decision that he wished he could have done better. But when I talked to Ollie, I told him, I said, you're lucky you got out light because you make a lot of money to play football.
Okay. Drinking and driving is no funny ordeal, okay? Now, I don't know. The way he handles the media is so strange to me. He's done this before, not talking about a player. Maybe has had another player with a Dewey. I mean, what school hasn't had to deal with players doing that sort of stuff? But you remember the "I'm a man, I'm 40" rant that he went on. He went on the whole OAN thing where he was caught with the T-shirt, and one of his players voiced their concern. They were triggered over a T-shirt because it said OAN, which is a conservative news outlet. Player was triggered over it. He apologized. Like, I hated that he did that. I can't tell you how angry that made me. He was out fishing, and someone caught a picture of the man wearing the shirt. And he folded like a cheap lawn chair. I don't know. And now you've got this. The way he answered this. And number one, should Ollie be suspended? Oh, hell yeah, Ollie should be suspended. Are you kidding me? At some point, you have to set the example. You're the quote-unquote father figure. And I know we're in a whole different era with the NIL. I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of deal within his NIL that he has to play X amount of games for him to get some kind of, part of his NIL. I don't know. But he should absolutely be suspended. And I feel like so many coaches have fumbled this over the years. You had an opportunity here, a star player. You could have set an example. That's your job as a head coach. And this guy's going to play. I'm not saying suspend him for an entire game. I don't know. Arkansas plays them. It's their second game. I don't care if you suspend him the game before Arkansas and you're giving him rest to prepare for Arkansas. I don't care. You have to set the example. I think Gundy is – I don't know that there's a coach who's done more with less. Like Oklahoma State is going to beg that guy to retire at Oklahoma State, which is probably going to be the case. Like once he leaves, they're in deep shit. I'm sorry. All the respect in the world. Oklahoma State, I've heard the campus is nice. The stadium is nice, all that stuff. Their fans are diehard. I know some. They're good people. But at the end of the day, they need to hold on to Gundy, and this guy does no wrong over there. And someone said, I think they're going to fire him over this. What? No, they're not. They know if they fire Gundy, they're in deep shit. So that's not going to happen. Gundy's not going anywhere. Ollie's going to play. The wrong thing's being done here, and he's saying the wrong things to the media. It's insane. Wu Pig Sui. Is this your first, Kelly? Your first? No. Okay, that says 10. So that's your 10th super chat. I didn't know it was keeping count. Is that what that is? Wu Pig Sui, go Hogs. Hold fast. O-line trenches. Get those likes up. Great show. What's up, Mr. T-Dub? Hope you're doing well. You had an opportunity here to set an example. You got a star player. That sort of stuff should not be tolerated. Okay? Just because others have made that mistake and gotten away with it doesn't mean that you should. You know? And I think Gundy's just handling the whole thing wrong. And then he says, I think punishment will be 50 carries or something. Oh, man. I don't know. The more Gundy talks, the more I see his kind of actions, the way he handles things, I'm perfectly fine with that dude staying at Oklahoma State. Stay there, man. Go win you 8, 9, 10 games a year in a weak-ass conference. Just do your thing. Stay there. The more that guy opens his mouth, I don't know. I lose respect. I once liked the guy a lot. Again, does more with less, maybe more than anybody in the country. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Again, I've said before, they've had some really good teams that could have been really competitive in the SEC. But whatever. Who cares? That situation's handled wrong. I don't know. Gundy wants to win, says Mr. Bloodline. You're not wrong. But he had an opportunity here, and he fumbled it. That's wild because last year they were calling for his head. I'm talking about the administration. I'm talking about the people up top. Now, he does have – there were rumors he had beef between him and the athletic director 5-6 years ago, and even then they didn't fire him. I mean, it's pretty well noted. I mean, that they did not get along, and they still hung on to the guy. That was after having a not-so-great season when all that stuff was going on. No, they do not. Now, their fans probably get upset because they feel like they could do better, similar to the way Arkansas fans – I would argue kind of more or less ran off Houston Nutt, right? And they did do better briefly. for a couple of years. They had really 2 solid years, but we know how that ended. Grass isn't always greener. Fans don't always realize that. Again, Mike, I'm talking about the people who control it all. They know better. They can't fire Gundy. And I'll be shocked. He's going to have to do something really, really outrageous to get fired. Or have a couple of really, really bad years back to back, right? Ty, how's Okie State's passing offense? Yeah, I don't know. Jeremy, we'll address that later on about their opponents and what's going to happen. Gundy definitely loves that mullet. He does wear it well. I'll give him that. So, I don't know. I just wished right there you had an opportunity to handle that situation better, and it didn't happen. Didn't happen, but that shouldn't shock anybody. You know, I mean, this is college football, right? This is college athletics in the 2020s. It is win at all cost. Sometimes you just hope a guy like that would do better, but I don't know. I just disagree with it. And I don't want to put blame on, well, I mean, yeah, the kid deserves blame. I mean, I don't want to throw too much at Ollie Gordon. Is he not a minor? Because is he a sophomore this year? I keep forgetting. Pretty sure he's a minor. So, I don't know, man. Again, it's just, even if he's not, whatever. Drinking and driving's no bueno. Don't do it. We've all made mistakes. I get it. But at one time, Chad Morris, laugh out loud. Oh, at one time after Chad Morris, I wanted to steal Gundy. Yeah. Gundy would have worked at Arkansas, I think. I'm glad he's not here now, though, says Mr. Bloodline. Yeah. What's up, Unbiased Brim? How you doing, man? I think Oklahoma State has a good chance to win. Yeah, they're going to be good. They're going to be a top 3 team in the Big 12, absolutely. Love seeing your channel and continued success. Keep it up, big bro. Hey, what's up, Jeremy McCollum? Hope all's well. All right, how about this? We got some good news for Arkansas pitching. I know baseball, Arkansas gets eliminated in their own regional. It pisses people off. Don't want to talk baseball too much, but they are getting Will McEntire back, which awesome. He's coming back for his 6th season. The right-handed pitcher threw 54 innings with an ERA of 4.83, 18 walks, 65 strikeouts. I actually thought when I heard he was coming back, I saw that on Twitter. I thought, what was his strikeout number? I was thinking it was in the 40s or 50s. He's 65 strikeouts with 18 walks. That's not too bad. That's a big deal to get a senior arm like that. Someone who's going to be in your coming out of your bullpen, who's old enough that his car insurance won't cost him too much. Yeah. Gundy might be the best coach in Oklahoma State history. Underrated by many. I mean, he's been there for so damn long. Yeah, I haven't kept up, and I need to talk with Mason Choate from Rivals from Hog Beat about. They are crushing it in the portal. They are crushing it in the portal. They got a guy out of the JUCO ranks who hits the ball like crazy. They're doing a great job, man. He's a man. He's 40. Come after me. Oh, yeah. I still, the OAN thing, when he was wearing the T-shirt, and that triggered everybody. Like, who cares, dude? I don't care that he watches Fox News or OAN or Howard Stern or Joe Rogan. I don't care. I like Rogan. I watch and listen to Rogan. I'm triggered. I'm a 19-year-old college football player, and your shirt disturbs me. God, soft-ass generation, man. How many football, basketball games you going to this year? Oh, I don't go to games, Pigpen. Stay right here because it's easier to do all my post games. I get asked that a lot. I don't go to games. I don't. I'm going to stay here. Now, the Texas game, we're still trying to figure that out. We're going to all meet up. Some people out of Discord, so just FYI. The I'm 40 is still my favorite coach rant. It's up there, isn't it? Saban's got a couple. Saban's got more than a couple. But Gundy. You remember when Bobby Petrino yelled at that media member, young lady who was wearing a Florida Gator hat? You guys remember that? I need to find that somewhere. All right, Arkansas basketball. We got some roster movement. Well, not we'll get to the roster part here in a minute. I think it's Casimir Chavis. It's C-A-S, not C-A-S-H. Casimir Chavis, who's a really good player. I don't know how long he's going to hang on to a third star, but he's considered a top 200 by just about everybody. I think On3 has him as a top 135. Well, On3 says 247, ESPN, and Rivals don't have him ranked nationally, but I know that's wrong. But, yeah, so he initially he signed with Washington. He's a part of the 2024 class. He's a 6'3", 180-pound combo guard, another combo guard. Wow, they're really racking up on the CGs. They're getting guys who could play multiple spots, which is not unheard of for guard play, right? But they've certainly got guys who could play the 1 and the 2, and some guys that could play the 1 through 3. So they're racking it up, man. And I've seen there's a video of Chavis. He's on defense. He steals the ball, really slick, but you can't really see it. It's kind of off camera, and you just see him bolt down the court and dunks at 6'2", 6'3", whatever he is. Looked pretty easy for him to dunk the ball, but it was nice. I mean, I've read here and there. He's just a good all-around player. He's an 86.48 3-star with the On3 industry ranking. Again, they have him as the 171st overall player, being a top 20 or top 30 guard. He's a top 10 player out of Minnesota. So, yeah, he was committed and signed with Washington. He got out of it when Washington dismissed Mike Hopkins after the 23-24 season. So he then decommitted and was released from his letter of intent, and he is signed with Arkansas. So what does that do? What are we at on time-wise? Are we going too fast here? Oh, no, we're at 46 minutes. Perfect. We're doing good. Looking at the roster, this is pretty much it. That's it, right? Now, I know Lawson Blake, I don't know what's going on with his situation, but Trevon Brazil, Jonas Adu, John L. Davis, Adu Thero, Big Z, Zvonimir, the 7-2 center, right? DJ Wagner, Melo Sanchez, what a freaking cool name, by the way. 6'4", another 6'4" guard. Then you have your incoming freshmen, Carter Knox, Boogie Flan, Billy Richmond. I cannot pronounce this other kid's last name. We know they got Aiden Kelly, now Casimir Chavis. And Jaden, the font is so small, I can't blow it up. Jaden Carluetta. Font, it's too small, and I can't. It's already all I can make out is the KAN, and I can't zoom in on the page because it's a saved screenshot that I have. Jaden Carluetta. I don't know. Whatever. Jaden something. 6'6" guard. All those guys are obviously your incoming 4 years. They're gonna have 4 years to play. I mean, if you look at this, if you look at the roster, not talking about the positions, and so when you look at the older part of this roster, Sanchez, Zvonimir, who's, not a lot of playing time under his belt, really. DJ Wagner, Adu Thero, Jonas Adu, and Nelly. Sorry, Nelly, my bad. Nelly Davis and Trevon Brazil. You have a great mix. I mean, it's almost split down the freaking middle of what he has to work with in terms of age, right? I mean, you're talking about it's like, again, Brazil, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 older players returning, the vast majority of which have, at least what? Now, they've got a bunch of starts under their belts. Now, Zvonimir is a little bit different. We know last year he wasn't eligible until conference play. So he still has quite a bit of experience under his belt, at least within conference. So really good mix of young and old, and the freshmen coming in, you've got a McDonald's All-American. You've got, again, Boogie Flan, Carter Knox, Billy Richmond, Jaden Carluetta, Aiden Kelly, Casimir Chavis. These are really, really high-caliber set of players, incoming freshmen you have coming in. And then, of course, you've got Lawson Blake, who, again, I don't know his situation. I think he's out for the year, I think, right? Had a pretty big injury. It's a great mix. I love the way he did this. And it was by design. He knew what he was doing. He had to compete. They couldn't afford to juggle balls. Couldn't afford to do it. Couldn't juggle the balls. Got to get some older players in there mixed in with some young, hot, talented players. If Cal lets Big Z play inside out, he'll be a lottery pick next year. Yeah, Zvonimir could very well be the real deal. And we knew that he was going to follow Cal no matter where Cal went, along with several other players and prospects. But you almost feel like he could be the wildest of wild cards for Arkansas. And not just at Arkansas. Like if he, and I agree with Peanut Butter Posse, he could be a potential lottery pick. Watch his game. I think it was against Georgia. Watch his highlights. I mean, his court awareness is far beyond what you see any 7', 7'1", 7'2" big should have. He's athletic, can move up and down the floor really well. We know with the kind of length he's playing with, he's going to be very difficult to deal with inside the paint defensively. He could be a monster if he has that big jump from his freshman to sophomore year. It'd be very poetic for him to do that under Cal at Arkansas. It'd be great. Could be a big deal. Now, I'm not saying it's ride or die. Like if he doesn't do well, or if he doesn't have that kind of what I think we expect to see in terms of progress, if he doesn't have it, it doesn't mean Arkansas is not doing anything. Just that it's almost like extra icing on the cake if Zvonimir gets going. I mean, it's crazy. It's insane to have a 7'2" guy that shoots the three. Yeah, he could stretch the floor. He could stretch the floor behind the back passing. I mean, he just does it all, man. He really could be a superstar. The potential could be there. Now, you got to take that with a grain of salt, right? We got to see what he does, what he does in practice, and what kind of reports we get back. Got to keep an eye on him. And he could be a guy too who in college doesn't really do much. It takes him a while. Maybe he gets to the NBA and then he really starts to develop. Maybe he goes through the G League, or I don't know. I mean, he's a very fascinating player on this roster, which is already just full of talent. It's crazy. Big Z is another Dirk. Oh yeah. Well, Big Z will be a lottery on potential alone, in my opinion, says Matt. He's going to have to see the floor more, and he needs more tape. But, yeah, his potential could be insane. It really could. Yeah. All right, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Who's gonna make the biggest impact on the court, Big Z, Adu, or Nelly? Right now, I would say it's hard not to go with Nelly. I mean, the guy he was electric at FAU. We know what he did there. He's only going to, I think, assuming the chemistry is there, and that's always the thing that we don't know. Just like last year, going into last year, we thought this team, it was we thought it was a championship contender. The chemistry, it was just never there. You had the off the floor, whatever the hell was going on, the off the court drama, and other fan bases getting involved, creating drama. I mean, it was just nuts. I feel like there were so many distractions. Muss felt so disconnected, and I remember talking about that in December going into January. Something just felt weird about his post games, and then we find out a little while later that he was putting his name out there, or somebody was, anyways, from his crew. However they do that, going through proxies or whatever, and it all unfolded. Looking back on it, looks fairly obvious, like what was going on, right? I don't know. I said he was running away from a tough situation. I still kind of wonder if that was it, or if he just really wanted to go back home, wanted to go back out west, and that just was on his mind all year. That could have very well been it. I'm sure after he retires, when he's like 90, he'll talk about it. I would love to know, what happened that 23-24 season? Just what the hell happened? Or we may never know. I don't know. I think Nelly is being asked to be the number one guy for this. I think that's going to be the case. But we know with Coach Cal, that's not always the case, right? It could be one of these talented freshmen coming in. Oh, that's right. He had the letter to the fan base. That's right. He was out. Yeah, okay. That's right. I'd shifted into recruiting for football, and I'm getting ready for fall camp and EA College Football 2.5. Certain things just get kind of lost. Ask my wife. I'm really good about that. So, yeah. All right. Well, again, I appreciate you guys. I think we're gonna end it there. If you guys, again, if you want to join the online, the dynasties, got to be in the Discord. And yes, you do have to be on PS5. So just FYI, okay? I'll take some more questions. Hang on. I know we're talking about basketball, but Ty, what's your opinion of football losing 2 Little Rock kids in recruiting last weekend? That's bad. So I came so close to doing a live after all that. Yeah, it's not. I mean, the obvious is it's not good when you're losing your own state the way that they have. I mean, it is I don't know. It's so unfortunate. They do have several, they're going to get some more. Well, I'm going to do a Patreon video. I'll probably do one here later tonight and maybe put it out tomorrow. So I'll just say recruiting's not over with. I can say that much. But I mean, what else can you say about Arkansas once again losing out on its top in-state. I mean, think about this. Your top 3 players in the state of Arkansas are going to LSU and Oklahoma. Wimberly, again, I'm trying to dig and trying to find out what's going on with him and how committed is he really to Oklahoma. Very, very talented defensive back, committed to Oklahoma. He's the number 3 player in the state. He's top 30 in that position. You know, yeah, you've got Grayson Wilson, you've got Murphy committed, who are in that top 10. But, I mean, that is outside of those guys and Antonio Jordan out of Warren, who I like a lot, who does not camp. And if he did, I really believe his potential he'd be the top 2, top 3 player in the state. I really believe that. The more I'm talking to people about him, I'm not saying he's the next Treylon Burks, okay? He's a lot bigger than Burks at 6'6", 230 pounds. But right now, in state, I think that's probably their best commitment. I really do. Nothing against Grayson Wilson. I like him a lot. Quentin Murphy, hell of an athlete. But guys, I mean, really, right now they're looking at three of the top 10. They're getting just 30% of the top 10 players in the state of Arkansas. They're not getting any of their, Grayson Wilson got the 4th star, but they're missing out on all 3 of the top 3. Carius Kern, we knew like this, he just wasn't going to commit here. Marion Robinson, Marcus Wimberly, like these are it just feels like they're foregone conclusions. You got to appreciate what you get. But this goes back to the conversation that we've had in Discord multiple times. We have someone, and some of you in Discord know exactly who I'm talking about, who believes that Arkansas should just completely abandon recruiting the state. And guys, that is a crazy ass argument. You don't abandon the state where you play. You have to think about the relationships with these coaches, with these athletic departments, all these high schools. Just because you're not getting these players. And yes, don't get me wrong, a 3-star out of South Georgia, out of parts of Florida, most of Florida, by the way, especially Fort Worth, Dallas, and Texas, maybe, Tulsa, right? Places where Arkansas has recruited before. Sure, you're going to, a 3-star there probably going to be a little bit better, in terms of potential. Might be a little bit higher than some of these kids that play in Arkansas. First off, I don't think you're giving enough respect to some of these kids in Arkansas and some of these schools in the state of Arkansas. I think that's just a complete dismissal of what some of these programs have done over the years and the type of talent that they have produced. Fayetteville, Greenwood. Of course, you can talk about the Little Rock schools. There was a time when Fort Smith was able to produce a little bit. You look at Shiloh Christian up here in NWA. Wasn't all that long ago. Springdale did a pretty good job. We know about the Springdale 5, right? But those situations were just so much different with how things were handled here during those times, talking about the Springdale 5. I don't think it's all on them that they weren't able to produce at this level. You think back to you think about these relationships that are built over time with the university, no matter who the head coach is. You don't abandon the state because you're not getting these players. You can't do that, right? This is a direct pipeline. If you think about that ideology, if you'd done that 25 years ago, you probably don't get a Matt Jones, you don't get a Cedric Cobbs, you don't get Darren McFadden, you don't get a Peyton Hillis, right? The list just goes on and on. Sean Andrews, you don't get those guys that were freaks and played in the NFL. You don't get them. So I just disagree with the idea, and I'm seeing that. And it's not just from one individual in our Discord. This is also a conversation I've had with some other people. You don't abandon in-state recruiting because you're missing. You need to reestablish yourself, and it starts with having a better product on the field. And, NIL, of course, I get it. But NIL is a big deal, but it also goes just as far when you put a winning product on the field. I don't know how many people I've talked to over the years since doing this. Man, I really got into Arkansas football when I got to watch Darren McFadden, Peyton Hillis, and Felix Jones. Now, Felix is not from Arkansas. That's not the point that I'm making. I'm just saying at the time they put a really good product on the field. They won 18 games, Houston Nuts' final 2 years, right? Got them into some respectable bowls, did a lot of good here, produced All-Americans. Arkansas was relevant on some level. And it had an impact on those kids. It had an impact on in-state kids, regional kids that were playing football that wanted to come here because of those names that I just mentioned, because of guys like Cedric Cobbs going a little bit further back, or a Madre Hill, right? Matt Jones in the early 2000s. You have to put a better product on the field in order to at least have a better shot. And, yeah, again, the NIL stuff does matter. I don't know how much of that was NIL with all three of these guys. You don't abandon your in-state guys, but I see why people arrive to that point. Like, why not just abandon the state and go elsewhere? Put all your time and money, energy, effort, blood, sweat, and tears to places like, Fort Worth, Dallas, Tulsa, go into Tennessee again, Louisiana, right? We've talked about that a lot. Down into South Georgia if you want to extend yourself out that far. I'm not a big fan of that, but they've actually had a little bit of success there. Most recently, they've had some success in South Georgia. But the only way you turn this thing around, it starts with putting a better product on the field that these kids can, they grow up watching and enjoying. And you think about think about these kids when they were, when they were children, when they were younger, when they were maybe in junior high, elementary school. Arkansas hasn't been consistently good in how many years, right? I mean, maybe the transition from Houston Nutt to the Petrino era, you were still relevant. You were still considered kind of fighting in the middle of the pack of the SEC. You haven't been able to say that for a while for Arkansas. But that was the case back in that transition period when Houston was here and going into the Petrino era. It's not been that way. And so, you've got to turn that around now. And it's certainly, at the end of the day, who cares about what you were doing 10 years ago? These kids want to know what you're doing now as well. That's also just as relevant. They got a long ways to go. We'll see. Again, I don't want to get into this season and matchups and what they got to do, but they certainly got to put a far better product on the field than what they did the last 2 years, and they really need to change the narrative. And it's hurting them in recruiting. Now, it's not, again, they just went and grabbed a really good player, a big-time 4-star defensive player not that long ago. So it's not all hope is lost. Of course, that was more of a connections thing as much as it was anything else. But we'll see how they finish this out. Again, recruiting is not done. We'll see if they can pull a couple more. We'll see what they do. All right? Okay. I think that's going to do it for me. Again, I do appreciate you guys. I won't be live again. This time of year, I'm already kind of light on content, so I will be back next week unless there's some news to react to, right? But if there's none of that, then you won't see me again until next week. So I appreciate you. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. EA College football, it's almost here. Get excited, baby.